Today's the day you choose sides.
Your father's...
But the return of two men who know exactly how dangerous he really is. For months, fans have been wondering whether the Yellowstone universe would finally collide with Marshals in a major way. Now, new clues suggest that Jimmy and Rip may officially be returning, and if that's true, everything is about to change. Tom's secrets are getting harder to hide, Casey is heading toward a dangerous war he doesn't even see coming, and Tate could be caught right in the middle of it all. But here's the crazy part. The return of Jimmy and Rip may not just be a fun crossover. It could be the event that completely changes the future of the series. So let's break down everything we know, every clue we may have missed, and why Season 2 could be even bigger than anyone expected. The ending of Season 1 left us with more questions than answers. Just when it seemed like Casey was finally finding a way to move forward after everything he had lost, another storm started building around him. The biggest shock came when Tom was revealed as the hidden force behind much of the chaos. For most of the season, he appeared to be someone people could trust. He looked calm, calculated, and even helpful at times. But by the finale, it became clear that there was much more happening beneath the surface. Suddenly every conversation, every decision, and every move he made started looking suspicious. That revelation changed everything because Tom is no longer just another character in the story. He is now positioned as the central threat heading into Season 2. The problem is that most characters still don't know what the audience knows. Casey remains focused on protecting the people around him, but he may not realize how close the danger actually is. This creates a very interesting situation because viewers are now watching a ticking time bomb. We know something terrible could happen. We know Tom is hiding something. The only question is when the truth will finally explode. At the center of this situation is Tate. The young character has already experienced more trauma than most adults. Throughout Season 1, we watched him struggle with loss, fear, and violence. The shocking moment when he was forced to shoot an attacker changed his life forever. That single action may continue to affect him throughout Season 2. Even though he acted to save someone else, taking a life is not something a person simply forgets. The emote. Now add Tom into the equation. At the end of the season, Tate's future became closely connected to a man viewers no longer trust. That's why so many fans are worried. If Tom truly has darker intentions, Tate could find himself trapped in a situation far more dangerous than anyone realizes. And here's where things start getting really interesting. The destination is Texas. That detail may seem small at first, but longtime Yellowstone fans immediately noticed why it matters. Texas means ranch country. Texas means powerful business interests. And most importantly, Texas means connections to people we already know. Throughout the Yellowstone universe, certain locations have acted as bridges between different stories. The moment Texas entered the conversation, theories started spreading everywhere. Fans began asking the same question. Could this be how Jimmy and Rip enter the story? The possibility makes more sense than many people realize. Jimmy has become deeply connected to ranch life in Texas. He understands how these operations work, and he has experience dealing with people who aren't always honest about their intentions. Rip, on the other hand, is one of the most dangerous men in the entire Yellowstone universe when it comes to protecting people he cares about. If either of them starts noticing unusual behavior from Tom, his plans could become much harder to hide. Imagine how tense Season 2 could become if Tom arrives believing he controls the situation. He thinks nobody understands what he's really doing. He thinks his secrets are safe. Then suddenly he crosses paths with men who have spent years dealing with manipulation, deception, and ranch wars. Men who can recognize trouble long before anyone else does. That possibility alone raises the stakes dramatically. What's fascinating is that neither Jimmy nor Rip would need to become the main focus of the series to have a massive impact. Sometimes a single conversation can change everything. Sometimes one suspicious glance can start an investigation. If Tom makes even one mistake around them, the entire direction of the season could shift overnight. And knowing Rip's personality, He isn't the kind of man who ignores warning signs. When something feels wrong to him, he keeps digging until he finds the truth. This is why many viewers believe the rumored return of Jimmy and Rip isn't simply fan service. It may be a key part of the larger story. Their involvement could serve as the spark that finally exposes Tom's hidden agenda. More importantly, they may become the first line of defense protecting Tate from whatever danger is waiting ahead. But there is another layer to this mystery that people aren't talking about enough. What if Tom isn't working alone? What if the real threat is much larger than one person? Several comments from cast interviews have hinted that bigger forces may be operating behind the scenes. Corporate interests, land disputes, hidden alliances, and old rivalries could all play a role in the next chapter. If that's true, then Tom may only be one piece of a much larger puzzle. And if a larger war is coming, Casey is going to need all the help he can get. Because the battle ahead may not be fought with weapons alone. It could involve money, power, secrets, and betrayals that reach farther than anyone expects. The question is whether Casey will discover the truth before it's too late. And if Jimmy and Rip really are returning, will they arrive in time to stop what's coming? If Tom truly is the mastermind behind the chaos, then Season 2 is about to become far more dangerous than anyone expected. But here's where things get complicated. The more clues we examine, the harder it becomes to understand what Tom actually wants. Most villains are easy to figure out. They want money, power, revenge, or control. Tom feels different. The finale seemed to suggest that he was involved in events happening behind the scenes, yet some comments from people connected to the show hint that there may be another side to the story. That possibility is exactly what makes him such a fascinating character heading into the new season. What if Tom isn't trying to destroy everything? What if he believes he's actually protecting something? Throughout television history, the most memorable antagonists are often the ones who don't see themselves as villains. They believe their actions are justified. They convince themselves that the damage they cause is necessary for a greater goal. If Season 2 follows that path, viewers may find themselves questioning everything they thought they knew about Tom. Still, even if his intentions are more complicated than they appear, that doesn't make him any less dangerous. In fact, it could make him even more unpredictable. A person chasing power is easy to understand. A person chasing what they believe is a noble cause can become. That is why Casey's upcoming conflict with Tom may become one of the most emotional storylines in the entire series. Casey has already suffered more loss than most people could handle. He has spent much of the story trying to hold himself together while carrying the weight of his past. Just when he seemed ready to focus on building something positive for the future, another threat emerged. The tragedy is that Casey may not even realize how deeply Tom's actions could affect his life. The relationship between these two characters could become the emotional center of Season 2. On one side stands Casey, a man trying to heal and protect the people around him. On the other side stands Tom, a man surrounded by secrets and unanswered questions. The collision between them feels inevitable. The only mystery is how long it will take before everything finally explodes. But there is another character who may be even more important to this story than most fans realize. Dolly. Ever since she entered the story, viewers have debated whether she can truly be trusted. At first, she seemed like a bright spot in Casey's life. After so much pain and heartbreak, she represented the possibility of connection and hope. Their conversations felt genuine. Their growing bond seemed natural. Yet the finale changed the way many fans look at her character. The reason is simple. Once Tom's true nature became questionable, everyone connected to him immediately became suspicious as well. Now there are several possible directions the writers could take. The first possibility is that Dolly knows absolutely nothing. In this version of the story, she is just as shocked as everyone else when the truth comes out. She genuinely cares about Casey and becomes trapped between loyalty to her family and loyalty to the man she has grown close to. This direction would create tremendous emotional drama because Dolly would be forced to make impossible choices. Imagine discovering that someone you love may be responsible for hurting another person you care about. That kind of conflict creates the strongest emotional storytelling. If this is the direction the writers choose, Dolly could become one of the most important allies Casey has in Season 2. She might provide information. She might uncover family secrets. She might even help expose her own father if she believes it is the right thing to do.